My mother-in-law handed my daughter a mop at Thanksgiving and said, "Earn your seat." My husband sat silent. So I stood up, took the mop, and handed her the eviction notice I'd been holding for 3 weeks. She went white and, "Earn your seat." My mother-in-law, Denise, said it like she was quoting scripture. Calm, righteous, untouchable. Then she pushed a mop handle into my daughter's hands as if Lily was a waitress who'd forgotten her apron. We were mid-Thanksgiving. The table was already loud with forks and fake laughter. Gravy steamed. Someone's football game blared from the living room, and my 12-year-old stood there frozen, her cheeks turning pink like she'd been slapped. Lily looked at the mop, then at the chairs, then at me, quietly asking a question she didn't have the words for. "Am I really less than everyone here?" Denise smiled, the smile she saved for moments when she could hurt someone without raising her voice. "Mary," she said, using my name like it was a warning label. "We all contribute. In this family, people earn their place." I waited. I actually did, because a small, stupid part of me still expected my husband to stand up. To say, "Mom, stop," to put a hand on Lily's shoulder and pull her back to the table. But Aaron stayed seated. He didn't look at Denise. Didn't look at Lily. He stared at his plate like the mashed potatoes had suddenly become fascinating. The silence was so sharp it made my ears ring. Denise tilted her head. "Well, go on, sweetheart. Kitchen's that way." Lily's fingers tightened around the mop handle like it was a lifeline. That's when I stood up. Not with a dramatic chair scrape, not with a scream, just stood. Quiet. Controlled. The way I learned to be in a classroom full of children when one of them tries to test how far they can push. I walked to Lily, gently took the mop from her hands, and kissed the top of her head. "Go wash your hands," I told her softly, "and come sit next to me." Denise opened her mouth, already loading her next humiliation. I didn't let her. I reached into my purse, pulled out a thick envelope, and set it on the table in front of her like a centerpiece. Then I slid it toward her with 2 fingers. "Here," I said. "Since we're talking about earning things, I brought paperwork." Denise blinked. "What is this?" Aaron finally looked up. And for the first time that day, I saw fear flicker across his face, because he recognized the envelope. He'd seen it in my work bag 3 weeks ago. He'd asked what it was, and I'd said, "Nothing you need to worry about if you ever decide to be a husband." Denise pulled the papers out. Her eyes moved across the first page. Her lips parted. She went white. And the room, my God, the room, went silent. "Eviction notice," she read out loud, as if saying it might make it less real. I leaned in slightly, voice steady enough to make my students proud. "I've been holding it for 3 weeks, I said, waiting for the right moment. Denise's hand shook so hard the pages fluttered. "You can't," she whispered. "Oh," I said, "I can. And you're going to hear every reason why. I'm Mary. I teach elementary school. I spend my days telling children that words matter, that kindness matters, that people don't get to treat them like objects. And then I went home for years and let grown adults treat me like one. It didn't happen all at once. That's how toxic families get you. Slowly, like boiling water. At first it felt like small sacrifices. Normal things. Family things. Denise's husband died when Lily was 6. Aaron was drowning in guilt. He was the oldest son, the man of the family now, and Denise played grief like a violin. "She can't be alone," Aaron said. "I know," I said. So she moved into my rental house. My first big purchase before I even met Aaron. I'd worked 2 jobs and finished my teaching credential with cheap ramen and caffeine. That house wasn't fancy, but it was mine. My proof that I could build something steady. Denise moved in with 1 suitcase and 1 promise. "Just until I get back on my feet," she said, dabbing dry eyes. 3 months maybe? 3 months turned into a year. A year turned into her choosing paint colors. Then it turned into her saying things like, "Mary, you're lucky you don't have to worry about rent. Teachers get summers off. I worked summer school. I tutored after hours. I bought classroom supplies with my own money." But in Denise's world, my labor didn't count unless it served her. The money was always the center of it. Always. Like a magnet that pulled every conversation toward what I owed. It started with little things. "Can you cover my utilities this month? Social Security came late. Can you spot Aaron's brother for his car payment? He'll pay it back. Can you put the groceries on your card? I'll give you cash." Cash never came. Then it got bold. Denise started calling my rental house her home in front of people. At church, we're blessed. The Lord provided me a house. To neighbors, my son takes care of me. That's what family does. To Lily, your mommy is lucky. She married into a family that knows duty. And Aaron, God, Aaron just kept smoothing everything over like his job was to make sure no one ever felt uncomfortable except me. "Don't start a fight," he'd whisper. "Not today. Please, Mary." The first real humiliation came on Facebook. It was a Sunday. I was grading essays in bed, red pen in my hand, when Lily ran in holding my phone like it was burning her. "Mom, Grandma posted about me." I took the phone. Denise had uploaded a photo from the previous weekend, Lily carrying a basket of laundry at Denise's house. Lily's face was turned away, mid-step, caught in a moment that looked private. The caption read, "Raising her right. Work before comfort. Too many kids think they deserve everything." Comments poured in like applause. "Amen. Kids need discipline these days. Good job, Grandma." And then Denise's sister, Aaron's aunt, commented, "Maybe Mary will learn from her daughter." I felt something cold settle behind my ribs. I walked into the living room, phone in hand, and showed Aaron. He frowned, like the post was mildly inconvenient. "She didn't mean it like that," he said. I stared at him. "How else does it mean maybe I'll learn from my daughter?" He sighed. "You're taking it personally." I laughed, a short, ugly sound. "It is personal. It's my child. It's my name." He shrugged. "Just ignore her. She's old." Old. That was the excuse for everything. Like cruelty became cute once your hair turned gray. The next escalation was the family group chat, Denise's favorite weapon because she could humiliate you in front of 10 people and call it a joke. One day after school, while I was sitting in my car in a parking lot, exhausted and hungry, my phone buzzed. A video. It was Lily, again filmed without permission, sweeping Denise's kitchen floor while Denise narrated in the background. "Look at her," Denise said, laughing. "At least one of them knows how to clean." Then Aaron's brother replied with a string of laughing emojis. His cousin wrote, "Make her scrub the baseboards too." Someone else, "Earn that seat." I couldn't breathe. I called Aaron immediately. He answered on the third ring, voice casual. "What's up?" "Your mother is filming our daughter like she's a servant," I said, shaking. In the group chat, "They're mocking her." Silence. Then, "They're just teasing." "No," I said. "Teasing is when the other person is laughing too." "Mary," he warned, like I was the problem. That night, while Aaron slept, I opened my laptop and started saving everything. Every screenshot. Every bank transfer. Every message where Denise asked for money and promised to pay rent. And then, because the universe has a cruel sense of timing, I got a letter in the mail. From the county. A notice about unpaid property taxes on my rental house. My stomach dropped. I'd been paying the taxes automatically every year. But when I logged into my account, the payment method had been changed. Not by me. The bank record showed the last payment attempt bounced because the account number was wrong. And the updated account belonged to Denise. She had switched it. She had taken control of my tax payments and messed with them like it was her right. I drove to the rental house the next day. Denise opened the door in her robe, coffee in hand, like she was welcoming me into her kingdom. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I got a tax notice," I said. "Why is your bank account listed on my property payment?" Denise blinked slowly, then smiled. "Oh, that. I was helping. You're so busy, Mary. Teachers have so many papers." I stared at her. "You changed my account." "I didn't change it," she said sweetly. "I updated it. It needed updating. You're welcome." "You almost got my house penalized," I said, voice rising. Denise's smile vanished. "Don't take that tone with me in my home." I felt my hands go numb. "Your home?" I repeated. She stepped closer, eyes hard now. "If you kick me out, Aaron will never forgive you. And Lily will remember you made Grandma homeless." There it was, the manipulation weaponized through my child. And that's when I realized this wasn't grief anymore. This wasn't family duty. This was a business model. Denise used guilt like currency. Aaron was her silent accountant. So I did what I tell my students to do when someone keeps breaking the rules. I documented. I reported. I prepared consequences. I called a lawyer friend of mine, Sandra, a parent at my school who'd seen me quietly falling apart for months. She looked at the deed, the financial records, the texts, and she said, "Mary, why haven't you done this sooner?" Because I wanted to believe love could fix disrespect. Because I didn't want Lily to lose her grandmother. Because I kept hoping Aaron would wake up. Sandra drafted the eviction notice. 3 weeks. That's how long it sat in my bag while Denise kept escalating. Because after I confronted her about the taxes, she got nastier. She posted again, "Some women think they can control everything with paperwork, but family isn't a contract, it's loyalty." Then she tagged me. Publicly. Parents from my school saw it. My principal saw it. One colleague pulled me aside gently and said, "Is everything okay at home?" I smiled like a liar and said, "Just family drama?" That same week, a new humiliation landed, this one designed to hit where it hurt most. In the group chat, Denise wrote, "Mary can afford lawyers, but not a better Thanksgiving meal. I guess teachers don't make much." Aaron's aunt replied, "She married up." And Aaron said nothing, not a single defense, not even a weak mom stop. So I gathered more proof. And then I found the hard drive. It happened accidentally, like the universe finally deciding to hand me ammunition. Denise asked me to help her clean out a closet before Thanksgiving because she was hosting. I should have said no. But I went, because I marry the teacher, marry the helper, marry the one who keeps the peace. While I was carrying boxes, I saw it on a shelf. An old external hard drive, dusty, labeled in Sharpie, M and A, Mary and Aaron. I slipped it into my tote bag without thinking. That night, after Lily went to bed, I plugged it into my laptop. Folders opened like a confession. Screenshots of my bank transfers, highlighted. Notes titled, "What Mary Owes" and "If Mary Threatens." A draft message Denise had written and saved. "Mary is unstable, she has anger issues. I'm worried about Lily." And then, voice recordings. Denise's voice. Aaron's voice, a conversation from months earlier, recorded without my knowledge. Denise, "You need to keep her in line." Aaron, "I try." Denise, "She thinks she's better because she works. Remind her we let her in." Aaron, "She'll calm down." Denise, "And if she doesn't, I'll tell everyone at her school she's unfit. Teachers can't be crazy. People talk." My hands trembled so badly I almost dropped the laptop. So it wasn't just Denise. Aaron had been in it. Not loudly, not cruelly, but compliantly, silently, like a man watching a fire and calling it warmth. I copied everything to my own drive. Backed it up twice. Printed key documents. I wasn't going to threaten. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to end it. And then Thanksgiving came. Back at the table, Denise held the eviction notice like it was contaminated. "You planned this," she whispered. "Yes," I said. "I planned it the way you planned to make my daughter mop floors for your approval." Aaron's brother stood up, chair scraping loudly. "This is insane. Mom has nowhere to go." Denise snapped, "Tell her, Aaron. Tell her she can't do this." All eyes turned to my husband. He opened his mouth, closed it. His throat bobbed. He looked at me like he wanted me to save him from choosing. And something in me, something exhausted, something ancient, finally broke. "No," I said quietly. "Don't you dare look at me like that. I'm done carrying your cowardice." Aaron flinched. Denise's voice rose. "Mary, you're embarrassing yourself." I smiled, small and sharp. "Oh, Denise, you don't get to say embarrassing after you handed a mop to a child." I reached into my bag again and pulled out a folder. "Since you like public humiliation," I said, "let's do it properly." I placed my phone on the table, opened an audio file, and pressed play. Denise's voice filled the room. "Make Mary feel guilty about Lily. She always folds when the kid is involved." Gasps. Aaron's aunt's mouth fell open. Denise lunged forward. "Turn that off." I didn't. I scrolled to the next recording. Denise again, venomous and clear. "If she tries to kick me out, I'll tell her school she's unfit. Teachers can't be crazy." Then Aaron's voice, "She'll calm down." A silence so thick it felt physical. Aaron's face drained. "Mary, You," I said, "sat silent while your mother threatened my career. My livelihood? Lily's stability?" Denise sputtered, "That was taken out of context." "Out of context," I repeated, and pulled out printed screenshots from the hard drive. I slid them down the table like cards. A note titled, "If Mary Gets Brave." Bullet points. Bring up Lily. Bring up church. Tell Aaron to stay quiet. Post first on Facebook. I looked at the relatives. "She wrote a play," I said. "And you all keep acting in it." Then I turned to the doorway. "Come in," I called. A woman stepped into the dining room. Sandra, my lawyer friend, dressed in a simple blazer, calm as a judge. Denise's eyes widened. "Who is that?" "My witness," I said. "And the person who's been advising me while you posted about me online." Sandra nodded politely. "Hello, Denise." Denise's hands began to shake harder. "You can't do this on Thanksgiving," Denise hissed. I leaned forward. "You did it on Thanksgiving the moment you made my child earn basic dignity." Aaron stood abruptly. "Mom, why would you—" "Stop," I said, cutting him off. "Don't pretend you're shocked now. You were there. You heard her. You did nothing. Denise tried to pivot, her favorite move. She turned toward Lily's empty chair. Lily will hate you for this. I stood straighter. She will not. Because Lily will learn that love doesn't come with chores attached. Then I looked around the table one last time. I'm not arguing, I said. I'm not negotiating. Denise has 30 days. Aaron can help her pack, or he can stay here and explain to his daughter why he chose silence over her. Aaron's eyes filled, but it didn't move me anymore. Tears weren't action. Tears were just water. Denise's face twisted, rage and panic fighting for control. You think you're so righteous, she spat. A teacher, Miss Morals. I nodded slowly. Yes, I said. I teach kids every day that consequences exist. Then I picked up the mop from the floor. I walked around the table, and I set it gently in Denise's lap. Earn your seat, I said, voice soft as a knife. Somewhere else. Denise made a strangled sound. Half sob, half fury. Aaron's cousin whispered, Oh my God. And Denise stood up so fast her chair toppled backward. She shoved the papers into her purse, eyes wild. This isn't over, she hissed. I looked her dead in the face. It is for me. The fallout hit like a storm the next morning. Denise posted first, of course she did. A long Facebook rant about ungrateful women, weaponizing legal threats, kicking widows out, and using children as shields. She didn't name me, but she didn't have to. Everyone knew. I could have stayed quiet. Old Mary would have. The Mary who hoped silence could protect her, but I wasn't her anymore. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, opened my laptop, and I posted my response. Not a meltdown, not insults. Receipts, screenshots of her group chat insults. The video of Lily sweeping. The audio clip of Denise saying she'd target my job. A photo of the eviction notice, my name clearly visible on the deed. The house clearly mine. I blurred personal addresses. I kept it clean. Then I wrote one paragraph. I helped this family for years with money, time, and silence. They treated it as obligation. Yesterday, my mother-in-law handed my daughter a mop and told her to earn her seat. I will never teach my child that love is something she must scrub floors to deserve. Within hours, messages doubled down. Family should be forgiven. You humiliated her. You could have handled it privately. But dozens of others, neighbors, old friends, parents from my school, sent something different. I'm sorry this happened. That was disgusting. Thank you for standing up for Lily. Denise tried to twist again. She claimed the audio was fake. So, I did what teachers do when students lie about what happened. I provided evidence. Sandra helped me draft a simple statement. The audio came from Denise's own saved files on a hard drive labeled with my initials, backed up and time-stamped. Denise deleted her post. Then she tried a new tactic, calling Aaron's phone nonstop, crying, begging. Aaron came home after a week of bouncing between me and his mother like a man trying to keep two sinking boats afloat with one bucket. He stood in the doorway exhausted. She's scared, he said. I didn't look up from my grading. She should be. She has nowhere to go. She has 3 grown children, I said. She can go to any of them, or she can get an apartment like every other adult. Aaron's voice cracked. Mary, I didn't think it would go this far. I finally looked at him. That's the problem, I said. You never think. You just avoid. He sat down slowly. I didn't want to choose. I laughed softly. You already did. Every time you stayed silent, he flinched. I'm sorry, he said, and I believed he meant it. But sorry didn't rebuild trust. Sorry didn't erase the way Lily had looked holding that mop. So I made my own changes. I separated our finances. Every bill I'd been quietly covering for his family. Done. I changed the locks on the rental house the moment Denise moved out. And I did one more thing, the most important thing. I took Lily out for hot chocolate and told her the truth in words she could carry. Adults sometimes use people, I said. Even family. And you never ever have to earn your place by being humiliated. She stared into her cup for a long moment, then whispered, Dad didn't say anything. I swallowed hard. I know, I said. And that's something Dad will have to live with, but you don't have to carry it. Denise moved out on day 28 because Sandra filed the next step paperwork and Denise finally understood this wasn't theater. She left behind damage, spiteful messes, and one note on the counter. Lily will see who you really are. I threw it away without reading it twice. Aaron moved into a small apartment 2 months later. He said he needed space to think. I gave him space. And then I kept it. I didn't win in the way people imagine. There was no applause at the end. No perfect justice. There was just quiet. And the quiet felt like oxygen. I still teach. I still grade papers late. I still wake up early and pack lunches. But now when someone tries to use guilt as a leash, I see it for what it is. I'm not guilty for being kind. I'm not guilty for helping. I'm not guilty for wanting family to be safe. But I am finished being an instrument. Denise tried twice to contact Lily through relatives. Lily ignored her, not because I told her to hate Denise, because I didn't, but because Lily learned something more powerful than hate. Boundaries. Last month, I changed my phone number. Not out of fear, out of peace. And when Thanksgiving rolled around again, Lily and I hosted dinner in our own home. Just us, 2 close friends, and one of my fellow teachers who couldn't afford to fly home. No tests, no earned seats. Just warmth. Before we ate, Lily looked at the empty corner where Denise once hung a framed quote about duty. "Mom," she said, smirking, "should I bring out a mop?" I laughed. Real laughter, the kind that doesn't come with a bruise. "No," I said. "We retired it." After dinner, Lily handed me an envelope. Inside was a little card she'd made herself with marker and stickers. It said, "Dear Mom, thank you for standing up. Love, Lily." I held it to my chest and let my eyes sting. Because that's what I kept, in the end. Not a house, not money, not a marriage built on silence. I kept my daughter's dignity. And mine. And if Denise ever tells anyone again that people have